You are listening to the Bearded Vets Podcast.
Hey, greetings and salutations. This is another episode of Just Tips, where we talk about things, ideas, people, and places. And on today's episode, it's going to be on the Bearded Vets. And we have several vets here today that's going to be talking about subjects. And before we get into the different subjects, I'll let each one of you introduce yourselves to the audience.
Grand Rising, everybody. It's good to be here this morning. You got Dr. Lloyd here. I am a visitor. I'm so humbled and glad and happy to participate.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Anthony. I am a business owner. I specialize in window film, drone operations, and anything that deals with media. Hey, welcome to be here. Let's get it started.
My name is Alton, Greatness in a Bottle, and I am a military vet.
Yeah, I like that.
Hey, I'm telling you, we're going to have a good time today. We're going to talk about some subjects that's going to be pretty, it's going to cause some dialogue, and that's what we're about. First thing I'm going to tell you, the audience members and everyone that's listening to this, go do your own research. By all means, do your own research. Go out there when you hear something, challenge what you hear, and go vet it by resources that are authentic, that are unbiased, and factual. The three subjects we're going to discuss today are gerrymandering versus the people's choice, social awkwardness versus social anxiety, and code switching versus maturity. So we're going to start out with the first topic is going to be gerrymandering versus the people's choice. Okay, so with that particular subject, we, over the last few months, we've been watching the news and what's happening in Tennessee with gerrymandering. So I'm gonna ask the audience or the members here. So what is your take on what took place in Tennessee? Have y'all been in the news and been aware of what's going on with that?
Yes, I have. Well, one thing we got to remember is that what's legal? Is gerrymandering legal? That's the first thing you have to ask ourselves, because if it's legal, then there's got to be some process in order to reverse that decision. So if you look at the origin of gerrymandering, right? Brother Elbridge Gerry, from when it started, why did they do it in the first place? So before we start dealing with change, we always got to go back to the origin. How did it start in the first place? And how do that will tell us how we got here, you see? So I think that's what we need to discuss to get this thing kicked off.
Okay.
Why was there a need, and how do we get started?
A quick history lesson. Elbridge Thomas Gerry. He's the governor of Massachusetts. And basically, he represented the Republican Party against the Federalist Party. And basically, he was upset by the things that was happening in Massachusetts. So he approved a controversial plan to redistrict the map to empower his people to vote. This was 1812.
What was it party, you remember?
What was it part of?
What was his party?
Oh, he was the Republican Party.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah, he was the Republican. So that was 1812. 1814, he died. But Elbridge Gerry was a part of the Declaration of Independence, and he also signed the Declaration of Independence as well as the Articles of the Constitution. So he was no slouch. And by the way, since we're talking about Elbridge Gerry, America loves to just take words and just, how'd you get Gary and Jerry? So, by the way, so once they made the redistricting map, the pundits, if you will, of the Federalist Party did a cartoon of the map, and it ended up looking like a salamander.
Yep, salamander.
Okay, and that's where we get now today, gerrymander, from combining the Governor Gerry and salamander into what we now know as gerrymander. You know, it's just like Americans or the English to change Gary to Jerry.
Yes, sir.
They always doing stuff.
Yeah, they change it up on you.
Real quick.
Soft G.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because they can.
And they did. With that being said, we now know the history of gerrymandering, and both parties, all parties are doing it. So let's put that disclaimer out. It just so happens right now, the party that's doing it is doing it in a way that is not representing the people. That's why the topic of the day is gerrymandering versus the people's choice. Because does gerrymandering represent the people? That's the question that I pose to the floor.
It doesn't. It makes a big separation. It brings the representation so far away from the actual individual that they're starting to second guess, and they get to a point where the trust is out of the picture.
And Dr. Darby, you brought up a great point about we have to understand the origin. The origin of gerrymandering was gaming the system. It had nothing to do with what the people wanted. It was about sustaining and maintaining control and power. The initial birth of gerrymandering had nothing to do with representation of the people. It was just a slicing of the map to reinforce and sustain the control of that party. That's why both parties currently right now do it. And they don't really take in consideration the people and their voices. It's almost now gerrymandering eliminates what they have to hear from the people. That's why you have these constituents go to these town hall and they're voicing their opinion, but the politicians don't have to be obedient to what the people are saying because of the gerrymander. The power that move does eliminates the validity and the power in the one vote, one person.
Doesn't newer or modern technology make it harder for it to happen because of voting files, constant polls going on, and things like that?
I say it has nothing to do with it because number one, gerrymandering is based on the census. The census is done every 10 years. So technically speaking, we should not be doing gerrymandering right now because the last census was 2020, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The maps were already drawn at that time. But now with the Supreme Court decision gutting the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, it allows political remapping, not racial remapping. And that's the splitting of the hairs, because if you're basing the map off of the census has nothing to do with political parties. It's demographic.
Right. But if we listen to his question, doesn't it make it harder to do in 2026?
Gerrymandering.
Right. That's what he asked. And as an answer, the short answer is what?
Does it make it harder?
Yeah, to do in 2026.
No.
You sure? Okay.
Okay.
I think it does or it doesn't?
I mean, I would believe it makes it harder because there's more data. So before, when you moved, if we're talking about horse and buggy moving from one area to another, that paperwork was either lost in transition or it wasn't accounted for. Now, if I move from here to Richmond Hill or here to another location, as soon as I register in that new home and pay bills, I'm already locked in and I'm already getting a note in the mail saying, hey, you changed location. You need to go to this location to vote. So it's more identifiable where the populace live at now versus before.
So you answered that, does it stop them from continuing to do it?
Yeah, the answer is no.
And his answer to his question is it does make it harder in 2026 than it did when it was originally done.
Right. I still say no.
You see what I mean?
Right. I still say no.
10 toes down. It's
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm not backing away from that one because look at what we're doing. The very state in which we live in are now getting to have a special session to look at redistricting the map for Georgia as we speak. Now, I don't know how far. I mean, we're already in the process of voting.
Agreed.
And now they're talking about redistricting the map.
Right, that doesn't. But to do it in 2026, as easy as it was in the year before, it was not being challenged. Remember, they just went along with it. today it's being challenged in 2026.
Right.
So they just can't they're not just accepting, this is right. You got a group of people fighting against it and trying to they've launched the campaign against it, right?
Yeah.
So that at least they present a challenge to the status quo, as before it wasn't being challenged at all.
Because there was no tracking. So basically what he's saying is now it's being where it can track it. They have to literally use power and say, okay, we move this here. We don't use race, supposedly, in the conversation. Because that starts to be an illegal part. We're just going to move things based on the population. But if they have files now, they can move it in a strategic way. Before, you couldn't fight it because you don't know if Mike moved from here to there to there because it was paper. Just like, prime example, when people get driver's license, they move to another state. They don't automatically just 30 days go get a new license.
Right. So not challenging your answer, because you're correct in your respect too.
Right.
But so is he, as where he says that the assessment is, does it make it harder today? Because they have opposition. It's no different if you wanted to move right now out of your house versus 100 years ago, where you may not even have that option because you don't own nothing. And today you do, right? Because the things is different. So that's the kind of perspective. Don't let me speak for you, but that's the kind of perspective where he's coming from on that.
Okay.
Now, as far as what you're saying, you're correct as well.
Now, does it stop him from doing it? I definitely agree with you.
Does what stop him from doing what?
No matter the technology, no matter if we can physically see the data, it's not going to stop them from attempting to do it.
No, not the attempt. But we don't know if it's going to stop them yet because the outcome has not been determined.
I still base it on power.
Right.
Because the power is there.
I'm going to go a little bit deeper.
Oh, please do so.
Go.
No, I'm about to go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, then I'm going to go deeper with that. Go.
Okay. No.
We're going to get to the cusp of the whole thing.
We about to go real deep because
I'm going to get to the cusp of the whole thing.
I have been trying to follow this project 2025, and I think there's a bigger issue. Gerrymandering is a bigger problem because if you look at the remapping, it's remapping to gain more representation in the U.S. House of Representatives, right? Okay. So one of the things that has piqued my interest is wonder if they gain 2/3 vote, the 2/3 rule.
Mm-hmm.
What are they able to do? What are they able to do if they obtain that? They're able to change the Constitution. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bigger picture with this remapping. If they solely talk about it's a political advantage. It's a gaming the system.
Mm-hmm.
But the gaming the system is to do other horrendous things like abolish or eliminate the 14th Amendment. Okay, for audience members, I know you don't know all of what the 14th Amendment represents, but basically it deals with citizenship, natural citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if they're able to eliminate that, now they're able to move people out of the United States and just do other horrendous things to the people. So again, do I think gerrymandering represents the people's choice? I'm gonna say no.
I'm going to say no as a fact, 100% not. That's the easy quick answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
But however, you got to remember what's the underlying benefit. This is a capitalistic world, especially United States. So they've always played the shell game with us. They got you focusing on that, but they're doing this. They're focusing. It's like a magician. You know what I mean? They have your focus on this thing, but really what's going on, you don't know because the door is closed. You don't know what's behind the closed door. So while we're watching the news, I can go into a whole nother thing with that, depending on what network it is. While you're watching the news, getting consumed with this as the gospel, they're doing another move over here while you're focusing on that. But the bottom line is power equal money, and money is power. Am I right? So they're looking for capitalistic gain, regardless of what it is. At the end, who's going to benefit the most with the more money? See, this is the whole problem with the presidential election in the first place. You can win the popular vote, but not become the president. Happened 3 times in history. How that work? How does that work? Yeah. Well, super delegates. What's the names?
I don't know.
Who are they? Man, you don't have no choice. But they can overturn, right?
People's choice.
The people's choice. That lets you know that what we're dealing with has to do with capitalistic, has to do with power and money, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So don't get too caught up in what you see out there, because you don't never see any of these people until it's time to vote.
Absolutely.
I mean, I couldn't tell you 10 of them that represent, Georgia, because they disappear. But then they run an ad, right, to sway you one way or another, and then they disappear again. But of course, if they don't get in, they blame you.
That's right.
The people.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Yeah.
We Trump wouldn't be in there, or whoever wouldn't be in there if we didn't, if we got out. As though they can tell who got out and who actually didn't by a poll they take. That politic word means tricky. You got to watch out for that thing.
Words have meaning.
Yes, sir.
Words have meaning.
Based on what you just said, he said about the poll. Have you ever taken a poll?
Yes.
You've taken a poll before?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. How do you think of it? I want to be a part of it.
Yes.
I see it and they say the polls say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's up, he's down.
Who's taking these polls?
What channel that's on?
Yes,
what
there's a group.
website?
There's a group.
I need to find that group.
Yeah, they do it. They do it based on a number of things. They can do it based on registration, right? They've sent it to my house before. I filled out a card. You got that too, bro?
Yep.
They sent it. I filled it out and sent it in. They've
Not
done
important enough yet.
Well, the thing is, they don't take a poll of everybody.
Okay.
So how does it represent? That's the strange thing about polls. I can tell you a poll said whatever because you can't verify what the poll said. No different than if I go to vote at a machine, all you know is what lever you push, what button or what you slip. You don't know what happened after that. Remember them Chads? What do they call them? Basically, the people were voting, but then they looked at who they were voting for. They sent the vote to somewhere else.
Absolutely.
How you going to trust that? I like it like it was in high school. You see, we want class president.
Put in the box.
Hello, you got 100 people in the class. That represents 1 vote per person, 100 votes. If it's 35 over here, 65 over there, they won. But we can't do that in the country. Oh, why not? Well, because, the slaves, they didn't count for 1 vote.
True.
So if 5 of them equal 1 person, 1 Caucasian, which is how all this junk got crap messed up in the first place.
All right, so we're gonna touch on that. Gerrymandering is broken up into 3 camps: partisan, racial, and prison. Okay, well, what do you mean by all of that? Well, we have the Democratic Party, and you can look at the census. Check this out. This is how smart they are. Although that's why all this data is so important, and that's why they will pay through the nose to get it, because there's no political affiliation on the census, but they can tell where Democrat or Democratic voters live.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Okay. So the census has nothing to do with political representation. They don't ask you what your political affiliation is. But by your location and where you are, they can determine by all the other external data points who you are going to typically vote for. Okay? That's why this gerrymandering, man, is just an ugly thing.
And Brian, before you go into that, can you explain the difference? Like you said, partisan gerrymandering. What is that for the group?
For the audience member in the group, partisan simply means you are a one-sided voter. Most people, when they go to the voting booth, I'm not saying everybody, they will say, okay, I'm a registered Republican. I'm gonna go down party line, lockstep. Same thing with Democrats. Democratic voters, they seem to vote their party. That's partisan decision making. Bipartisanship is mean it's equal representation, and there's an agreement of both parties that this is best for the people.
So for partisan gerrymandering, that's drawing the maps for the party's advantage.
For the party's advantage. That's right.
So I do have a question. When you say partisan, is that people who have actually voted or actually registered as a Democratic Party or a Republican Party? Does that make them, and I'm not questioning you, but I'm saying for the group, if you are a registered Republican, they assume for the highest recommendation that you will vote Republican.
Probability is high.
Same thing with Democratic. But if there's a financial advantage and I'm a Democratic registered party or representative, can I vote as a Republican?
I think so, yeah.
So if there's a financial gain on this one versus maybe 3, 4, or 7 or 8 years ago, can my financial pocket change my vote and then no longer be partisan? Or do you have to vote who the party you represent?
You don't
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
No question.
Yeah, you don't have to vote your party line. That's why I
You looked at it as a traitor if you don't, though.
So the reason I say that, and not to cut you off, the reason I say that is when they say partisan, and when I say they, I'm saying in the media circle, they say partisan or bipartisan. It gets very, very gray in that area, because if I'm a Democrat and he's a Republican and we have business deals together,
It's bipartisan.
now we're bipartisan?
Yeah.
Even though we have two different parties.
If you come together, if a Democrat and Republican ended up liking a similar decision, it's called bipartisan.
But if you don't know that's why we coming together, does that now, is it only bipartisan because we put it on the table? Or is it bipartisan because we both know? And that's where it gets a little...
Both.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
Okay.
know, by two, bisexual,
Okay.
anything by acronym, that prefix is two. So, yeah, you're right.
That's what when you say partisan,
tricky, though.
it gets kind of tricky. But go ahead.
No. That's why is it incumbent upon us to know the candidate, period. Not just because they are Democrat or Republican. You need to know what they stand for and who they represent. And you need to look at follow the damn money. Family, when you are looking at candidates, look at where they are being funded from and who is receiving the money. Because that's going to tell you whether or not they're loyal to or represent the people. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I'm going to follow whoever says conservative on their commercial. So that's like 20 of them.
Okay.
That's his rights. Yeah, see, if you don't do it, aren't you exercising your right?
Yeah.
You should have seen the look on your face, though.
Hey.
That was fun.
Hey, man. Hey, you know.
You're listening. You're listening.
Whatever.
You're an active listener.
If we thought you wasn't, we thought you weren't. We know now.
Right. Whatever floats the boat.
Hey.
You know.
Hey.
So-
at the end of the day, there's a lot of assumptions when you choose a party.
Boom.
Yeah, it is.
Agreed.
There's a lot of assumptions when you choose a party.
What do they say about assumptions?
Make an ass out of you and me.
There you
Go ahead.
Gerrymandering, there's two techniques they use to oppose their will on the people, called cracking and hacking. Cracking sounds exactly what it does. Spider web of breaking up a group of people into other districts. And then packing is consolidating all the voters into one district to do one thing: devalue their vote. So the idea that some of the Republican parties are saying, well, you still have your ability to vote. I don't know why. One person, one vote. Why is there such an issue? The Voting Rights Act, the gutting has nothing to do. You still have your power to vote. But what they fail to say is it eliminates the actual power in the vote itself by diluting but you know these parties potentially are going to vote a certain way. Well, we just move half the section into this district, the other half into this district, and that the remaining 1/3 will push them into this district, like what they did in Tennessee. They still have their power to vote. One vote, one person, but they are not going to be able to affect any change.
Okay.
That's why people say their votes don't matter.
When it comes to voting, there is 3 types of voters. You have an educated voter. You have a voter who just goes with whatever party he's a part of. And then you have a voter who can be swayed. And that becomes the problem when you say one vote, one person, one person, one vote. What I get confused by is they're not going to talk about the mapping, because the educated voter says, this is a problem. The one that can be swayed, not worried about it. The one that's part of the party, he's just going to vote that way anyway because he feels like there's nobody protecting him or above him to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I feel that's going to be the biggest problem. The educated one will be the one that says, hey, there's a problem. There's an issue. I need representation. I need somebody to step in for me to make better decisions for me because I can't do anything in the position I'm in. So how do y'all feel about that part?
There's one that I can add to that, which is the socially engineered voter, which means that who brought you up, who raised you, which is your mama, your daddy, your grandparent, your friend that you most admired, and will not allow you to be that free. So in my house, when we grew up, whatever my dad did, we doing it, whether I understand it or not. And that's on all topics, whether it was religion, whether it was voting, whether it was getting a job, that's just the way it was because that's who influenced me. So those 4 aspects, observation, association, teaching, and who you're friends with, which is a psychological piece.
Mm-hmm.
We got it. That's how most people are voting anyway. I mean, what do you know about voting at 8 years old? Right? You might have you were in the car when your mom went to the polls or your dad went, we got to go vote. Okay, we'll go. I remember sitting out waiting for them two. My mom and dad would go in, they come out. I see the signs, everywhere, but that's all I knew about it. So by the time I turned 18, it's going to be very hard for me not to do the same thing when these are the ones I admire the most and I trust the most, and they fed me and brought me, raised me, and everything like that. So I like your observation. I just like to add that piece to it, that socially engineered part, which makes sense, what he said.
A lot of it comes with experience too. I mean, you got to be able to, you have the young voter. My daughter voted for the first time when President Obama's second. She was very proud at that moment that she went to go vote for him. Different mindset. What was that 18-year-old thinking at that time? Like what is an 18-year-old thinking now?
Whatever you told her.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They're greatly influenced. They're greatly influenced by social media presence. That's why there's tons of damn money being pushed into the social media, and we just gotta be in our P's and Q's, man. I mean, we got to be able to discern ourselves from people who are just persuading you for their own personal gain, or they really trying to look after my best interest. So,
own personal gain, that's the short answer to that. But I got a question I want to ask about that 14th Amendment. I saw you bring it up.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'm just curious. Okay, I have an illegal immigrant, an illegal mother, and a legal father. Both came into this country illegally. They have a child born in this country.
Right.
Should that child be a U.S. citizen? Go.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Go ahead, conservative.
The reason why I'm saying no is look at the situation. We can look at the thought process or the whole thing, either or. If their goal is to hurry to get across the state line so they can have a baby, then that baby becomes a citizen, and then they can bring more people over, then this process is in place for a reason. So that's just my initial thought. Now, granted, I'm not saying we shouldn't be humane and not take care of them, and if they have the baby here and, you know, be able to grow the baby up and then send them back. But yeah, that's what I believe.
Okay.
Sound like a double talk in a minute. I don't know. You got to stay at old business, baby. What's up?
No, I mean,
listen. You know, at the end of the day, I had to deal with this up close and personal, and you did too a little bit, because I don't know if you guys worked in retail before. Well, in retail, this happens all the time. Okay, parents come in, got the mom and the daddy. Here come the little 8-year-old
who speaks English.
Hello. So he's talking to them. And they always pay cash, big old wad, right? And he tells me, he says, do you have so and so and so? And it's kind of a difficult situation. Now, I see both sides. So I gotta have an interesting point of view on this. Okay. How in the world are y'all gonna sneak in? You're here illegally. So why should you benefit anyway, in any way? Because you had a baby born here. Okay, so I understand his answer, because why should you benefit in any way just because you had a child born here and you have parents that are illegal? You're not of age. And what were they doing when the child was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? On the other side of my humanity, I'm like, okay, it's not the child's fault. He didn't ask where he was going to be born, didn't ask to be here, right? So now he's here on this soil. So should that child be able to reap the benefit of what we had to fight for, we being my ancestors, right, that were born here and still weren't considered a U.S. citizen until somebody fought for it. They weren't even considered human, you know, until a law had to pass in order for them to be that way. And boy, they could not even vote without a law being passed, and they've been here all those years. For that reason, I'm yielding and leaning to no. That makes sense?
Okay.
I'm leaning toward no. Go on where you was at, okay? Or let your parents do what it takes to become U.S. citizens. And that starts out by being legal. You got to be legal. You got to be legal. You got to be legal. I got to be legal to be here. Go.
On another thing is, what's the difference between an illegal and a dreamer? One of them's backed by a party that's given surplus amount of money, a house, a car, and a job. The other one came on here on their own terms, but they're both the same. They're both not U.S. citizens. One's just more protected than the other. One's given money, the other one's not. But we don't treat
presentation.
Well, a dreamer can be a legal citizen. I can be a dreamer, and I can be, but an illegal citizen, whether he dreams or not, is still illegal. That's what I'm saying. And will they afford me the same thing if I go to Mexico?
I'm going to say illegal immigrant is Republican, dreamers are Democrat. That's how you're splitting hairs. That's.
Thank you for pulling that sword out. That was a good point, though.
I mean, all talking points are one particular partisan argument. I never hear any Republican conservative say dreamers in any type of positive way, period. Never. I will love to meet them, and, you know, audience members, if you met somebody that was a conservative that spoke positively about dreamers, I would love to meet them.
Okay.
One interesting commercial, I think it was it Rick? I can't remember his last name. He was focusing on the Hispanic violent crimes. But yeah, if we look all mass shooters, they're all one.
Yeah, they're white.
Yes.
Yeah, that dog ain't gonna hunt.
All right.
The problem is, like I said, not the problem. I'll say the dilemma, the challenge is we talking about a child. You know, I come across a baby. You know, I'll think of innocence. You know, I think of not accountable, nothing. I think that first. You know, but and I appreciate their effort to get a part of this American dream. I mean, I say that in quote. But at the end of the day, the parents got to do what they have to do to become legal.
Now, Dr. Darby, you've been saying a lot of great things about getting to the basis of the conversation. And I really think the basis of this is the people that are monitoring the paperwork for filing for citizenship. I think they're getting paid on the side to either move people up or to stop people's paperwork. So if that situation was fixed and you come over here, you have a child, you have X amount of time to get that paperwork filed, or you're in the process and everyone can see it, that kind of eliminates the whole thing. What you got, Brian?
All right, check it out. I'm about to end this discussion right now.
You can't.
Yep.
'Cause I got a hot take on this one.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go? Do you want to go now, or you want me to say what I got to say?
If you're gonna end it, let me say what I gotta say then.
Go ahead and say what you're gonna say. I'm gonna keep it right here in my head. I don't want to lose
How
that point.
do we know the difference between legal and illegal if it's all paper or filed through electronics, right? Who's legal and who's not illegal? We're not picking them all up. And then somebody goes through the system and decides, hey, I'm going to elevate these people to be in the legal line so they can get their stuff done. That's a payoff. That sounds like America. America's been doing that for years. You come to a place, you say, hey, how you doing? I'm going to give you $10,000 off this car. I'm not going to do it to him, but I'm going to do it for you because we know each other. That's America. So what I get confused at is when they say legal or illegal, depends on who's in that position.
Okay, so you remember I told you earlier about follow the money. Corporations don't give a damn about illegal representation, illegal immigrants. They don't. Because why? That's labor that they can be able to pay and not top dollar, and they're going to do the hard work that no Americans. This is the whole big push to push all these immigrants out, but there was no plan to backfill the hard labor that they actually feel and generate income. They generate money for the state in which they are operating in, mainly Texas or New Mexico, Arizona, that area. Okay? And you're going to tell me, if it was all about immigration, then why is ICE at the port system when they are legally going through the process and they snatching them right out the court and deporting them to countries they don't even belong to, by the way. So it's never been about immigration, period.
And to his point, you can't have there's not going to be any good without bad. You can't have the one without the other. It wouldn't even be anything called good if it wasn't for bad. Mm-hmm. The only difference is the percentages. Okay. Right. So it's always going to be like that. And he's right, because what's going to happen, so is this brother. When you have this good, it just takes one human. See? So this is all humans, dealing with this. And they're going to, and I've done it. And I've been on the other end of it. We call that realism-ism. Okay? That's what we're dealing with here at the end of the day.
Okay.
Which is not my term. This term came from a brother named Larry that I used to watch some years ago. And I used to, man, that's interesting, but that's right. You got what you want, which is your preferred. You got what is, which is what's real. And then you got what actually happens and who's willing to admit it. That's it.
Social responsibility. They'll turn a blind eye as long as they keep on making money. So you really want to say, how do we enforce immigration? Well, take a look at the corporations that are hiring. Take a look at the construction companies, these major construction companies all around. I have witnessed it. I ICE go in and start snatching people straight out of the construction area, and they're in the middle of building it. And they're running in the creeks, jumping over the fence, trying to get away. So holding the companies responsible to ensure that they're hiring. So it's the blanket statement. We need to be hard on immigration, but yet no one's being hard on the companies that are enticing illegal immigration.
They're friends.
That's a deviation, but it's all a part of the bigger picture. So what's the call to action? And we can wrap this particular subject up. The call to action for gerrymandering. So do we agree that gerrymandering is not good for the people's choice?
I do.
Agree.
Okay, so then what kind of recommendations you would think? And I'll start it. You got to eliminate gerrymandering. If you can't eliminate gerrymandering, then it's got to be illegal to remap a district after the census is done. The only time that you can redistrict the map is during the census, every 10 years. If we're not going to outlaw it straight up, because you're going to have to say, I don't care about my party, both Republican or Democrat. We need to get the power back to the people. That's going to take an act. I don't know. I mean, it's going to take a miracle, if you ask me, for them to do that. It's almost like putting term limits on the U.S. Supreme Court justices. That's going to take an admission on their part to say, hey, maybe we don't need to have a lifetime appointment. I don't know. But
yeah, you do. You just said it.
I mean, the only issue with that is each state has its own process for.
And that's the problem. That's the problem right there.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
So we want more power.
State rights. That's the problem right there.
So
because they're gonna do whatever they want. Look at Georgia. That's why we in this mess we in now. Because it's states' rights. This is what I want to do. I want to disenfranchise a whole group of people simply because they live in a certain area.
So you want more federal involvement?
I want someone that's going to be able to hold the states accountable for when they're doing something wrong. It's like someone going out there beating people up. And just who's going to advocate for those that are getting beat up?
Who's doing the beating?
Right. It's my right. States doing that. The states are doing it.
It depends.
States are doing it.
Who's giving the beating?
It depends on who's doing the beating.
Well, depends on where you live. If you're in the Southern Belt, now we can do a history lesson real quick. What was happening in the 50s? Okay, what was happening in the 40s? All based on state rights. I mean, the whole reason why we had the Civil War, it was states' rights. That's the whole big blanket statement. State right to do what?
I got the answer. Tear it all down and start over again. Listen, you got one airplane. It's got two wings.
That's right.
It's the same daggone bird, okay? A bird have two wings, left, right. Don't get mixed up in all this mind debacle illusion, okay? Ain't no such thing as left wing, right wing, none of that. It's one bird, okay? And that whole bird is corrupt. All they doing it out back while y'all think they on two different sides is having burgers and getting high and all cocaine and all kind of stuff. Okay, so become an independent thinker and understand that we are so deep into it now that there is no solution other than tearing it all down and starting over again. There's nobody coming to save you. It's you, okay? The God mind is the man mind, the human, and you're not going to fix anything without a human being involved. You can pray all day if you want. They've been doing it over 600-700 years. It ain't going to happen. Now, the way you fix it is first becoming independent and deal with your own house. Make sure that the ones that you brought into this world that you're responsible for have a mindset that's going to be most productive for them and their own family. Self-preservation first. Okay. Now, if you want to get involved in these conversations, you want to get involved in the political aspect, join that show if you want to. You know, I've kind of been there on some campaigns and whatnot, but then I learned about politics and the way they work. And they're basically designed to keep you busy and to redirect your focus And it make you think what's right is wrong, and sometimes what's wrong is right, and sometimes up means down and down means up. So becoming independent, and whether it's a corrupt system or not, it's the only one you got to work with, the United States. That's all you got. So tear it all down and start over from ground one. What's the probability of that?
0. Can you get a negative number?
Yep, unfortunately, you may be right, but you got power. You have power to think on your own.
That's right.
You have power to make moves on your own. You have power not to be pitted against each other, when that's really a goal for us to be sitting around and blame each other. Not enough of y'all didn't go out and do this, that. Miss me with that. I already dealt with that before, and I'm trying to convert Black Republicans over to Democrats, which is wasting my time as I see at 66. I mean, yeah, in my 30s, I could see some benefits of that because I didn't know any better. But I think, me personally, I want to thank all of you all for your input because, I'm listening and I kind of learned some things. I always try to see what I can walk away with. And I learned some things. Disagree or agree, really don't matter. But I learned some things, and I just appreciate everybody's input today on this topic.
I appreciate it. And this concludes this subject. Obviously, it can keep on and on because I really want to know how then, if you say no to automatic citizenship, then do you agree with abolishing the 14th Amendment?
No. That's my short answer.
Because the 14th Amendment clearly talks about natural born citizenship.
The trick.
So
I don't like the opposition to that. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to cut you.
No. Go ahead, Dr. Darby.
You said agree with abolishing. I don't like the opposition to what's going to happen after the fact. I read it. Ibbly dibbly doobly bobbly. And come on, man. Do we really take all that to say what they want to say? That's what I want to do first. Change the language. Let's narrow this thing down to a couple of sentences. I mean, who got time to read through that? I'm considering myself fairly, knowledgeable and intelligent. Shoot, man, I had to read that thing in sentences. And it's going in a circle. It was like reading doesn't make sense. We got to get that thing. I think they do that on purpose. I think they did it on purpose.
Oh, of course. All of it is about...
You read it too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did it on purpose.
I think that it's a select. That's why when it comes to education, right?
Yeah.
There's a select few who chase it.
Yeah.
There's a select few who want it.
Yeah.
And there's a select few who can afford it.
Yeah.
And America understands that. So they put things out there for those who do not want to chase it, can't afford it, not thinking.
So I would, on the 14th Amendment, I really think it was for citizens that were already here, and you have a child, your child is automatically a citizen. I really think it should have been restructured now because it's too vague.
When was that written?
1868.
Yeah.
What was the condition of the African American in 1868 in the United States? So who was that for again? Only?
Americans, they were already citizens.
Right.
You already had to be a citizen.
European.
Right. Remember, words on paper don't change the condition of the person. Right? So now I'm riding. It's 1902. Right? That's in place. They're going to stop me? They're going to hang me? They're still lynching me? So I don't know the value. You see? Well, yes, I do. 0. If I'm the one with the rope around my neck, right? So we gotta keep that in mind when we write that too. When we read it, if we read it and they do as they say, I'm with it. But it's rarely done that way. They set you free, right? But you couldn't go nowhere. And then when you did go and you had papers, you know what they did when they stopped them? Tore them up. I don't care. So really, to me, what good is the law if the one who wrote it is not going to abide by it? Then you did arrest me, and when I get in there, I got to face your uncle wearing the judge, the robe.
Yeah.
and your cousin on the force. I mean, you know, I kind of lost faith in what they have on paper. I'm more, you know, inept to deal with what's the reality of it when you actually stop me on the street. Has it gotten better? Absolutely, 100%. But we've indoctrinated ourselves so much that we taunt them. You know, I don't know if you ever saw some of these traffic stops on camera. See, cameras were supposed to stop the beating and the abuse, right? So on film, you see? So I like where you're coming from. But, you know, keep in mind that this is a law on paper. And until it matches reality, in 99% of the encounters, I think we still got to be careful about that. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense. And that's why we naturally code switch when we get pulled over.
I like the parlay.
Like that transition.
Hey.
Before we transition.
And the block.
Because you about to jump on it. I want to say this. I didn't realize we are still in our infancy stage of post-slavery. We, as Black Americans, we did not obtain our full citizenship until the passing of the Voters' Right Act in 1965. So let's put that in reality. I haven't been born yet.
Oh.
So let's think about that. The Supreme Court just gutted out the very thing that made us full, made us whole, a participant in the judicial voting process as a full-fledged citizen of the United States of America. And I'm just going to leave it right there. Okay? Because I don't feel like code switching right now.
You on the code? You on the code?
I really want to just.
You're on the code. Just stay at the code you are. You good.